specifically for European Tyre Enterprises using the branding of QuickFit. So ProgrammExpress, cloud-based solution. Every client has their own instance of a database. We're just using a demo system with the corporate branding of QuickFit. So I'm going to log on as an administrator, and you can be an administrator, a write access user, or a read-only user. If I log on as the administrator, they can have access to all projects, all modules, and also admin screens to amend configurations. So what that's just done is taken us to our home screen, where we try and allow most or 90% of things to happen from. So we can view our portfolio. So if I open up the portfolio, we can see programs of activity that sit within the portfolio, and we can see projects that sit within the programs. This is purely demonstration structure, and you can set the structure up as you so wish. And also from here, what you can do is you can view the health or the dashboard of each of the projects, broken down by their various modules in a red, amber, green format. And the modules better shown here as commentary, plan, resources, costs, benefits, impact management, risk registers, and logs, which can be whatever you configure: issues, actions, decisions, etc. So the requirement is that users or project managers will populate updates within each of these modules and can be accessed by accessing the squares within the home screen to make their updates. And if all updates are there, it allows the administrator to immediately start running reports. So some examples, and here we have shared reports which have been sort of pre-canned or set up. There's a reporting module to set them up and to run other reports, but we can easily run the reports that we are likely to run on a regular basis. So assuming everybody's made an update, we can run brag status summary. So that's a consolidated, automated, aggregated view. Looks a bit like an Excel sheet, but we don't need to manually do anything. Automatically, it produces a summary of each project, one line per project, bit of information in the columns, the project manager start and end date, bit of dashboard information, and some of the key comments that have been made by the project manager. So automatically, we've got a view of all the projects and some narrative information. And we can configure new reports which have different columns and different information, but that's the basis of it. Or we could run a Gantt chart report. From the top level, we can run these reports from any level. I'm choosing the portfolio, which means that everything that sits beneath it will be sucked through. So we'll see here that we've now got a Gantt chart report of within each of the programs of every single project and the detailed plan behind that, and showing a Gantt chart format of red, amber, green. The taskbars are formatted red, amber, green. Green means on track, red means it's missed a date, and amber means it's forecasting to be later than what was originally expected by the governance body or the steering group. So just a couple of examples of reports that we can automatically run, assuming that everybody has made their updates and there's the right PMO governance in place to do that. Now, we know that it's only as good as the data that goes in it, and if I now log on as a user, we'll show the user experience. So I'm going to log on as myself, Nick Wilson, and I'll be logged on to the same database, the same home screen, but I'll have a different view. And the view that I have as a user or a project manager is of the projects that I have write access to and I'm expected to update. And it will also have a view of the modules that I'm expected to update. There are many more modules, but for this specific user, we can filter the modules, we can filter the projects just down to write access. I could also toggle and go for read access, and they will have read access potentially, or in this case, to all the projects. But in terms of write access, it's very clear in terms of the UI as what the requirement is to select a project, to go into the module, the commentary in this case, to see the updates, the overall status. We can change the rag status If we want to, we can do that for the overall status, but not for a lot of the others. What did we achieve last period? Focus for next month, decisions and escalations. And we quickly make our updates and then we save. And then we can move through to the plan. And we can see what plan we've got. And it shows here that we've achieved some tasks, but some are slipping compared to what was originally outlined. And we can see that by the plan has two sets of dates, the original and the current, or baseline and forecast. Make the changes, move through to resources. We'll see here are the resources that are allocated to this specific project. I might want to add one. Let's add somebody. Let's add Andy Scaplehorn. Skill of infrastructure for 2 days a week on the total project, on the planned tasks or specific days. Let's go to the planned tasks on the design phase. Automatically populates from the plan. Click OK, save. Andy Scaplehorn has now been added as a resource on this project. And then the requirement is to update our logs, which can be actions, issues, decisions, whatever we've configured for that user to use. And then there is a log of activity. One thing that's missing from here, probably shouldn't be, is the risk register. But it just so happens that we're not expecting this user to specifically update that. Now, once they've been through, that could take 15 minutes to make their updates. They may have some reports that they've set up, only they can see these reports. Shared reports everybody can see. The PMO have probably sent them out as recommended. Regular reports, my reports are ones that I've set up. So I could run, for example, a project report. I've been running program and portfolio reports before, a one-page summary about this project. So I've updated the project. I want to see what the data looks like with that update in place. So here you'll see we've got some key dates, some financial information, and we've got the narrative. So that would slot nicely into a PowerPoint slide as a project update. Or we'll have a one-page overview, which again is a project report, but has more of a word style portrait, maybe a bit like a Prince2 highlight report, but again, some commentary, some of the planning information, some risk information, and some log information, actions, issues, decisions, and whether they're red, amber, or green. So the project manager can run these reports and say, yeah, this looks okay with the data that I've updated, because they know that these will be going out in a reporting pack. So moving back to the administrator view, if we go back, and we can see all modules, all projects, plus the administrator configuration functionality. Now I know that resourcing is a key requirement. Now, as I showed, if every project manager makes their update to their resources, aligned to the plan, but actually you can have just specific dates outside of the plan if you so wish. And what that gives us is, again, we've set up a report, we've called it resource usage summary. Now, as we say, this is not a deep dive resource management tool, but it will start to give a view in terms of what's out there, what people are working on, and whether they've been under or over allocated on the portfolio. So let's close that down a bit. It shows here the number of days that these people are available to do project activity, and it will show the health of those resources and what they're working on. So let's say projects that they're working on in specific periods, in this case monthly, but it could be weekly. It's only showing 7 days allocation in a month. So why is that red? Well, we can see that because they've been allocated as a resource, but only available on projects 1 day a week, which is possibly the reality with a lot of resources. So if I move down, you'll see that this is an Excel type report, but it's aligned to the plan. So if project manager changes the plan, then this will automatically move with it. So we'll have a look and see, have we got a problem area? Oh yes, we have. We've got Fiona Copeland working on these projects, massively over allocated in this period. So we can start to see in terms of our capacity, if new stuff comes along, we can start to see the impact on our resources and see whether we have an issue or whether we can actually manage the activity. So we have a couple of hotspots, a couple of issues. That's an example of a resource usage, but I could also run many other different types of reports in terms of resourcing. So for example, I could go to resources, go to settings, and we'll see there are other types of reports, availability by resource. I'm going to change the data so that it's for monthly for 2 years, and I'm going to change the font to small because I know that 2 years worth of data won't fit on the page unless I reduce the font size. So I create that. And now what this will see is like flip side view, which will show, just make it a bit bigger, all our resources and whether they are under or over allocated. This is what they are available for in future months, and it also shows where they have been over allocated. So there are plenty of different resource reports. You can configure your skill levels. So within resources, you'll see here that we set up our pool of resources. We say how long they're available for. We can put a day rate in, and we can see what skill type they have or what department they belong to. So again, you can configure and you can add new ones. These are just examples, but we can say align to application services. So what we could do is we could run a report on all the resources that are within application services, or all the resources within infrastructure, or all of our third supplier resources if we so wished. So that's how we simply set up the resource pool. It allows project managers to allocate resources to projects very simply, and therefore we then get the big picture view in terms of resourcing, and this would be the most common report, the resource usage, so we can see who's working on what and the general health. So another couple of things, I showed you one of the reports in terms of more to project level, but here I'm running a one-page summary report, and this has been filtered in the background to own the active projects. So if I click that, active projects within the whole portfolio will show all the projects, warehouse management system, one pager, fulfillment process, one pager. These are all the active projects, so they can automatically create a reporting pack. So we're trying to reduce the manual effort of people filling in Word documents and Excels and back to the PMO to centrally consolidate, then produce a reporting pack. This is real-time available information. So that's just a flavour for hopefully going forward. It looks like something it could meet the requirements for European Tyre Enterprises, maybe lead to an on-site demo. Hopefully will do. Love to work with you on it, and I'm pretty sure from our discussions that we could very quickly get a solution in place which could help. But whatever, thank you very much for watching the video, and we'll be in touch to discuss next steps. Thank you.